My name is Khairold and I work for Telekom Malaysia, and specifically I'm in charge of the digital insights and strategy for Unify Digital. The integration steps is well documented by MoEngage on their websites, and the customer success manager and their technical team have been very helpful in getting us to implement the integrations. A lot of the challenges, specifically for me, would be coming from our organization, where it requires technical resource for the implementations. But in terms of the guidance to implement itself, MoEngage have been very helpful, as helpful as they can. In fact, we requested a particular library to suit our needs, and that have been delivered by MoEngage. Of course, we would like to request more, but they seems to be willing to go to extra mile to fulfill our requirements and requests. We have two sets of data. The first one is the first-party data, where what we already have, the information that we already have of the customers. For example, their personal information, their names, their emails, their address, and then the product holding, the products that they're currently subscribing with us. And then we also have the details of their complaints and so on. And then from MoEngage, the tracking enables us to get their behavioral data, the digital behavioral data, the pages or screens that they went to, the buttons that they click, and we mix both of this and we create segments, right? So for example, we have a mesh Wi-Fi product, which is a router. So typically, when customers are having internet problem in their homes, it's not necessarily because of the speed of the internet. More often than not, it's about the Wi-Fi devices in their house. So we can analyze that based on their premises, whether they are in locations that is, most chances are they are living in a larger house with multiple stories, and then based on their, because people often mistake thinking that they will, when they buy higher speed, they will get better coverage in their house, which is not. But we can assume that that's the case. So higher speed, and then based on their personal data of where they live, we can deduce whether they're living in a larger house. And based on the complaints that they made before, if they are talking about the lack of internet coverage in their house, we combine all these three, and then we try to propose them to recommend them to buy additional Wi-Fi device that can get the better coverage in their houses and their home. Customer engagement. Okay, the customer engagement itself, it's pretty much the same whether you are whether you're inside a large enterprise or in a small company, right? What I'm talking about specifically is implementing the customer engagement, which requires you to integrate a few systems, which requires you to put certain personal data, for example, in cloud, right? Which requires you to do tracking in your digital assets. And these are the things that you might find it difficult. On the surface, it seems to be easy, but people who are in charge of these separate items inside a large organization will most likely be in different departments with different KPI and different objective and different focus, right? So the hard part is implementing it within that context. So the nature of customer engagement itself is pretty much the same. The implementation part would be the big differences between a smaller company like startups or larger organizations. That's the beauty part about subscribing to software as a service such as MoEngage, because we do not want to think about that. So we outsource that to you, right? Because before this, larger enterprises would often have their solution installed on-premise, right? So not only that you have to think about the solution itself, the software part, we also have to think about the infrastructure part, right? So what MoEngage has enabled us to is to outsource that worries about the scaling to MoEngage, so that we only think about the business part, about understanding the customer, about knowing what are the products that we should sell to customer, about knowing the what kind of engagement that we need to do with the customer, be mindful about everything, but also trying to find what do you call, opportunities by studying data, by understanding customer psychology. So it enables us to not to think about the technical part like scaling, like server and everything like that, and just focus on the human part, like communication, engagement, and also to drive the business outcome, which is sales.